Hey, well, good Saturday morning. So depending on where you are, it could be real early. It could be it's 11 o'clock here where I'm at in Cleveland, Ohio. So I have a little foster baby joining us in a little bit. So if you hear any noises, don't mind. But wanted to, as we get everybody in here, wanted to say you're going to find a chat area. We want to take a lot of questions today. So don't be afraid to type in your question over in the chat area. And if you want to get a recording of this, what we'll do is at the end of this session, about 2 hours later, we're going to send you a link via email with a recording. So you don't have to worry about getting every note taken. You'll get a recording so you can play it back. But and also I've got a handout too. When we start diving into some stuff with a lot of detail, I'm going to send you a handout and I'll pop that up for you. So anyways, thanks for joining us this morning. And hey, Josh Durnell, thank you for hanging out with us and being the expert on the panel that can answer all these questions that I can't figure out. So
yeah, Tim, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to these. These are really awesome. I've been getting a lot of really positive feedback too from my customers that we've talked after this. So it's great. I really want to keep doing these. This is fun. So
yeah, nice. I appreciate it. And our goal today is to help you. We're seeing 5 big buying mistakes out there that we want you to avoid today. So from here on out, I'm pretty proud of you guys for taking time, though, to explore and research, because a lot of people just jump in, don't have all the facts. So I'm proud of you also for taking time to invest in your family or loved ones or friends that are going to go camping and enjoy RVing. So that's the best part. I know as a little kid, I started, and some of my best memories growing up have involved camping and RVing. And my very first one, my dad built the truck top camper that we went up into British Columbia with, and saved my life because there were some bears that were in the campsite during the night. And when I woke up, thankfully I was inside the little RV and I wasn't out there. So I have a special place for RVing. And Josh, you too. Didn't you grow up with parents that had a campground and around camping? And so
yes, sir. Grew up in a campground. That's born and raised, not in a camper, that is, but we owned a campground, and that's all my friends, all their families, all camping. It's really all I know. It's what I've been around all my life, So
we should, between the two of us, we should add up how many campfires we sat around at night over the last.
All the smoke in your eyes. Yeah, it's got to play some sort of a play with these glasses I have to wear now. So.
Yeah, blame it on that. That's sweet. All right, so let's dive right in. We've got a lot to cover. I don't want to take a lot of time this morning, but I want to make sure they walked away totally equipped. So what would you say? I saw the first mistake a lot of people make is not asking for the out the door price, and kind of just the whole understanding of how pricing works in this world. And can you dive in that? And I'll go upload some slides while we're waiting.
So Tim, I'm seeing that more than ever. And really? The people I'm talking to right now, this is something experience or tactic, I should say, that people are doing. A refundable deposit. Sounds good, right? Right. That's exactly.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard of this.
I was asked the other day, I was like, why don't you guys offer a refundable deposit? I said, well, we do. I mean, if I can get you approved, or if you're not happy with the camper, or if anything like that, I'll give you your money back. What do you mean? I don't expect you to take that camper home. Well, they said, well, I put down, this guy told me, he says, well, I put down 4 refundable deposits through dealerships to try to increase my chances of getting an RV, because he knows they're taking about 16 weeks to build right now. And I said, sir, you've given 4 different people your money without signing anything? You're not signing a purchase agreement. You don't have anything in writing stating this is your camper. You don't have any of that stuff. No, why would I need that stuff? We talked about it over the phone. If it's not what I want, it's not what I want. And I get my money back. Well, okay, but you see, so I dug into this. And then my sister just recently bought a car, kind of a similar thing, and that's how I actually found out. what they're doing. These dealerships are selling. They may only be promised 5 of one camper, right? But they're going to sell those 5 campers 40 times.
Oh, I see.
What they're doing is they're making sure that, okay, so this guy I talked to, and he kind of opened up that door for me, which again kind of brought the things to my attention. One of the campers showed up, and the price that they negotiated in person, or I should say over the phone, was not the price that it was in person. They didn't sign anything. So this gentleman was subject to 3 price increases because of lumber, steel, other materials, and they didn't tell him about all the hidden fees. And I mean, that's kind of what we're going to get to in a second, is all of the other hidden fees. But that's what these dealerships are doing right now, is they're saying, hey, if I call you when your camper gets in and I call you and you don't pick up, I got 30 other people in line that I'm going to sell it to that day. Sorry, I'll give you your money back. But now those people just waited 4 months with the impression that I at least have a camper coming to me, right?
Right.
It's a very interesting thing, but I guess, and again, this is new to me. I've never heard something like this. That's why I wanted to bring it to the attention. I've never heard of something like this, but with us, at least the customer knows what they're getting. Like they have a purchase agreement with a checklist, basically. Here's all my options. Here's what I'm supposed to be paying you when I come in after the 3 or 4 months, however long it takes to get this person's camper built. When they come into us, they know what they're getting and nothing changes. That should be like across the board. That should be a contingent thing when doing business with this type of situation, right? You should have something in writing, and that's what that'll basically open up the door to all of the other things that I'm referring to as hidden fees. But I thought that was very interesting, and I would say, we to start at the very beginning of where you see these mistakes happening with the purchases. That's like a very interesting, it's a new, and it's happening a lot right now, and it's something I've not heard of before. So I don't know why these dealerships are choosing to do that. I guess they just are ordering a bunch of product, and they're hoping that they're not going to sit on them when they get in here, right? But I don't necessarily agree with that. But I mean, if anyone in the room has had a similar experience, I'd love to hear about it too. Like I'm trying to just grasp why they would need to do that. But I feel like I have that answer, is that they just don't want to. Again, you don't pick up, they're going to sell it to the next guy. I don't agree with that, right? But that's one of the first things that I'm seeing, and of people being told. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's that's sad. Hard to believe. But yeah, so definitely, like you said, ask for things in writing, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, you should. You don't want surprises, and like you mentioned, price increases, and as you're seeing a number of different price increases. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to lock in your price at a point. Like, you don't want them to just have the ability to just keep changing pricing. So, man,
no, of course, and that's obviously the last thing they're going to tell you about, right? Is that, I mean, they don't want you to know that lumber is through the roof right now. They don't want you to know that, mm-hmm. that they might not get these appliances from overseas. They're just kind of telling you what they want to hear so that they earn your business, and then kind of dealing with it afterwards, playing the blame game, essentially. Hey, listen, I don't have control over this stuff. Like those are conversations you have beforehand, not after you earn their commitment or their business. Those are conversations you should have before or prior to giving someone your money, is, when to expect it. What will this price change? Why don't I have anything in writing? Right? I mean, that's just it kind of blows my mind that that's what we're doing in this current times, is adapting to new tactics. I don't like that at all. And just like what you said, should be no surprises. There should be no shocks when you're spending this amount of money, especially now. Most of this is done over the phone. There's not much to confirm, right? You deserve to know all of these things beforehand, but
Man. Well, I got the slides up. Let me bounce in here. Oh yeah, there's my first RV. There's our trip there. All right, so we just covered that. Let's say, but could you explain? I know the big question is like pricing. So MSRP, like what is there? Like with a car, there's an invoice and there's a set price that they're allowed to sell them for, and it's pretty much across the board. It's a lot different in RV world, and I want you to if you could explain that real quick, like how pricing works.
It is the same, but it is different, right? I mean, there's people right now that are selling over MSRP right now, sir. I took a call yesterday from a lady in Florida. She was about to spend $75,000. This is before tax, fees, licensing, anything. She was about to spend $74,000 to $75,000 on the same product that I sold her for $50,000. She didn't even believe I was real, but I said, ma'am, that's what dealerships are doing. If they have it on a lot right now, they're waiting for that right sucker to come around and buy it because they want it today so badly. And those people are out there. They're more so than ever right now. But ultimately, that's the point of this here is to you don't have to be subject to these things. You shouldn't be, and not everybody has the same mentality when they're in the same space that we are. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, and I'm not trying to say, hey, look at all the great things we do. I'm just saying, I at the end of the day, I can go home knowing that the business we earned was honorable. And do we make mistakes? Absolutely. Like we're not perfect by any means, but it's still, we have never sold a trailer at MSRP, and there's never been a hidden fee. These are the conversations you should have before earning someone's business, right? So,
and I appreciate you. I know you work for RV Wholesalers, RVWholesalers.com, but I know it's a lot more important to you and the founders of that organization. They were school teachers, and you guys want to equip and empower people to make good decisions. So, and have all the information. So I appreciate you taking time today to do that. I know it's not just about selling RVs because you can only sell so many, 3,000 or 5,000 in a year, but there's going to be 500,000 or 600,000 sold this year. So why not help everybody have a good experience, a better experience with it, and prevent some pain?
I'm definitely biased. I mean, I've been working here all of my life. This place is where I have myself invested in. I see the amazing things that we do differently, and that makes me, just want to tell everybody about it. So, but Tim, and just for all the people watching, I appreciate you doing this for not only us but for these other people. A lot of the time, like a lot of the comments on Facebook, people are asking like, "Darn, I just missed this webinar. When will you have another one? I'm about to buy a camper from somebody else, and I need to know these things." Like, not everyone has the intention of buying from us. They've already got things negotiated. They just want to know they're getting the best deal. And if they find out that they are getting taken for, maybe they will give us a shot. That's all we could ask at the end of the day. So no, but you deserve to know the differences between what's right and wrong, and what should you be subject to and what you should not be. And I think that's the goal of this, more than trying to get more sales, right? So, but anyway.
Yeah. No, that's good. Let's dive into the hidden fees. I wrote some of them up here on the board, and the first one I have here is the PDI. Can you explain what that is and how you're seeing that pop up?
Of course. So a PDI fee, pre-delivery inspection, or it's the definition of that is when they go through and they test everything on the RV, they clean everything. They're basically doing their inspection to make sure everything is working properly, right? So ultimately, a lot of dealerships will charge you for this, a very big fee. I mean, depending on what you're buying, the cheapest I've ever seen it was $995. The most I've ever seen it was about $2,000 because it was a motorhome, and they had to do more things to it, right? I'm not discrediting that. There are more bells and whistles associated with some RVs than there are others. That's fine. But at the end of the day, Tim, the reason that we don't agree with that is that if I find anything wrong, again, guys, for all that are watching, this would apply to a new RV, not a used. I'll touch base on that in a second. But if you're buying a new RV that has a manufacturer warranty and it was just manufactured, you should not have to pay somebody to make sure that trailer is in good condition. I'm sorry, but you shouldn't. I recently bought a boat, and I was subject to a PDI fee on that. As I'm doing my purchase, I'm trying to compare the industries, and I did myself a disservice because, hey, that boat doesn't come the way that it should. You got to put everything in. You got to put the tower together. You got to put oil in the engines. You have to do all of these things. I didn't consider that. So as I'm fighting with them, I kind of look silly, but I that's because I know in my heart that in my industry, a PDI fee is a joke. It's a way to get more money out of each customer's pocket, and that's why we don't agree with it. Because again, guys, this is a new RV. It has a full manufacturer warranty. If anything is wrong with it, if they forgot a couple staples, or if maybe there's a nick in the wood, whatever it may be, big or small, maybe the water heater came in and it doesn't work or it's leaking. Again, these things happen, but they pay me as RV wholesalers, or my guys in the shop, I should say, my warranty department, they pay us to fix that component. So our time, and then if the component is broken or whatever it is, they send us parts for free. They messed up. They have to fix that. So long story short, why would the customer pay for that? The dealerships, if the dealership truly went through that and inspected it the way that they should, there should be you should not be subject to a PDI fee. They got paid hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to fix those things before you got there, as it should be. Anybody that's willing to charge you for that, that is simply greed. That is double dip. And in some cases, heck, if I got $1,200 or $2,000 from you, I don't even have to touch that thing. You paid me. The factory did it. I'm good. I got my money from you. Have a good day. That's where I see a lot of bad experiences come from too. Is not that process not being done. One of the best ways to tell is if you flip your furnace on and you still smell a really smoky smell, the reason I say this. The reason I say this is people online on this Rockwood group that I'm in, I've seen a lot of people say that. Say, guys, is your smoke detector going off when you start your furnace? They say, no. And I'll chime in. I'll say, somebody didn't get their trailer prepped. That furnace should have been ran for an hour because there's oils and there's gases that have to evaporate. And it smells really bad. And that's a dead tail sign that trailer wasn't touched.
That's good.
It's a bad thing, man. But those types of people are typically the ones that have a bad experience with the product, and they blame the product for it being less than what they thought what it should be because of the amount of money they paid for it. However, again, I would say 60% of that should fall back on the dealership's failure to properly prep that RV. That's my, just being in the industry and in all the departments I have. That's what I would say. That's not something that should happen. But anyway, so yes, PDI fee, pre-delivery inspection. That's what that is. That's why you shouldn't be subject to it. So
yeah, no, that's good. Thanks for sharing what that is. And I've seen that one. It's kind of showtime, like where a lot of RV shows used to happen. Now there's not been a whole lot of them. Right. But I've seen that fee show up a lot of times hidden at the end of a show to make up for the cost of the show, because it's expensive. I always wondered why you guys never went to the shows. So I asked David, your uncle, why aren't you at the Chicago boat show and RV show when I'm here? Mm-hmm. Like, I see everybody but you. And he's like, Tim, let me explain. And he goes in to explain how much it costs to get a booth. I mean, you think a little booth is like a couple thousand. A trailer needs 3 times that, 4 times that. And then you start adding up the cost to get all the salespeople there, the hotels, the meals, the labor you have to move them in and wash them and all that. That's all union. So you have to hire them. And I mean, it's just like on and on. Ended up being hundreds of thousands. And so I always thought that's where you go get the best deals there. But it's probably more better for you to go kind of figure out your floor plan than to actually buy there. But I've seen some of these hidden fees, like these PDI fees showing up, mm-hmm. or show fee, or whatever they hide it as at the end to kind of make up for some of that expense that it costs to show. But yeah, that's interesting. So
and I think you said it best. That dealership, they already have a place to sell from as it is. Why would they take their inventory, their sales staff, their cleaning staff somewhere else and sell campers cheaper? Does that really make sense? It's like seriously, the common sense will tell you otherwise. And that's again the tactics used at a show. I've been to shows all my life, Tim. We don't want to be a part of it because it's either a waste of money or you're going to get unhappy people when it comes down to them picking up. Listen, I don't have hidden fees. We literally this has been about 8 years ago now, but we sat down with all the dealerships and they said, so what's our fees going to be this year? Because they all have to be the same, right? That way it's fair for everybody. Well, they look at my father and my uncle and they say, well, we don't have fees. Looking around the table at each other, so we didn't have fees Wednesday and Thursday. We can't have them Friday and Saturday, guys. That's not who we are. That's not what we can do. That's and no one agreed with that. And so long story short, with the events that transpired. I mean, not necessarily pushed out, but listen, if this is the game that we have to play to be a part of it, we don't want to play this game. Well, but shows are awesome. And for the people that ask me, hey, I can't, or tell me, hey, I can't wait to see you at the show, or I can't wait for this, and what products you bringing? I'm not. You look at it locally. You get the price, you bring it to me, I'll beat it. We don't need to make it up in hidden fees, all this other stuff. But yes, not where you go to get the deal. Yes, they're selling a lot of them, but they make that up. That's why a lot of people don't even get anything in writing to take home with them. They just don't.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I put out the hidden fees PDF. It's a 1-page PDF. You probably saw it. You can download that anytime throughout. I'll just leave that up. So go ahead and download that. That way you don't have to write down all this. And we'll get back to a few more of these real quick. I'm going to try something new, Josh. So Melanie raised her hand to ask a question. I'm going to see if she can join us. No, maybe not. Anyways, we'll try again. If you raise your hand, we'll see if we want to try seeing if we can bring you in to ask your question. But there was a question up in the chat from Amy. How do you know if they're selling above MSRP? Can you answer that one?
So the MSRP can found on any build sheet. Matter of fact, on our website, it will show you as you're doing the quote request, for example, it'll show you MSRP and here's our price. You can see that we're almost about 40% under that, and some brands we're even more than 40% underneath that. But you can see what the manufacturer suggests their listing price to be just by getting build sheets or spec sheets. They're called a lot of different things. It's very easy to get those. And if you're not sure, give one of us a call. I could easily build up the camper with your options and say, here's what the MSRP would be. Here's what we're selling it to you for. But we don't really deal with any MSRPs. This is a wholesale dealership. We can sell it for whatever we feel is necessary, basically. They still recommend us to sell it at a certain price point, and then there comes map pricing and all of this other things. But yes, ultimately, they're not necessarily going to advertise the MSRP unless they're the dealership that are trying to make it seem like they're giving you this insane deal. Like, hey, I could have sold it to you at 80, but here you can have it for 49. I mean, that's that price for 49 is still probably higher than what it should be. They're just making it seem like there's this huge gap to get you excited, right? So
yeah, because there's a fee that the manufacturer sets. We call it MAP price, minimum advertised price. So they're never allowed. No dealers are allowed to out in the public to share a price that is advertised that's lower than a certain number. So if you're browsing around a website or a newspaper or whatever, you're not going to. Yeah, so there's limits. So if they're advertising at that, it still may not be the best price. But all right, very good. Thanks. Talk real briefly about a couple other hidden fees that you see, Josh.
Well, you do have most of them here. Transportation fees, that's obviously a good one to talk about.
Yeah. Explain how that works and what to expect on that.
All RVs, there's only 2 manufacturer states three if you count Airstream, but I'm just going to keep them out of this for conversation's sake. So Indiana is the Midwest and the East Coast and most of the middle states in Ohio, or I'm sorry, in the United States that the RVs come from. Okay, so let's just say from Nevada all the way out to the Carolinas, all of those RVs come from Indiana. Okay, depending on the brand, everything like that. I'm trying to keep it simple. So the dealership in, let's say, Texas, it would be physically impossible for that dealership to sell the trailer for the same that I can, or even close actually, but for the same price that I can or cheaper, simply because he has to take the unit, the same trailer I have, from the same place I get it from, and take it 1,000 miles south. That's a very large cost. A lot of people, you've been on a highway before, and you get passed by a semi trailer that has 11 cars on it, right? Well, that dealership only had to pay freight for one time to get 11 pieces there. So he can divide that among 11 pieces and help them out significantly, therefore not having a very large fee associated with that, right? Well, each RV is hand delivered to that dealership. Doesn't matter what state it's in, doesn't matter where you're located. That's a very expensive cost to, especially now with gas prices raising the way that they are. It's only going to get worse. So that's a very expensive cost to get the trailer from A to B. A lot of dealerships, again, I'm picking on people down south, just for example, a lot of people in, like, let's say Florida and Texas, I'll put it this way. The honest ones, they inflate that in their price. Okay. They say, hey, I mean, you know, for something I could sell for 25,000, they're going to just ask 28,000. Okay. It's not a huge difference. And maybe that $3,000 doesn't get you excited to drive to Ohio and pick it up. I don't know. But ultimately, the honest dealer will put that in their price. The dishonest dealers will say, you know, I'm beating that guy's price in Ohio. I'm either matching it or I'm beating it. That's to get you into my door. That's you come to my dealership instead of to Ohio. And then they're going to say, well, it's $1,000 to prep it. It was $1,800 to get it delivered here from Indiana. We gotta clean it. We gotta give you the walkthrough. You gotta finance with us, and then we gotta get you hitched up, and then all of your accessories. So now the price is $10,000 more than what we agreed on. And when you try to bring that to their attention and say, hey, this is not what we agreed on. Why didn't you tell me about these things? Why is this a surprise to me now as I'm here picking up the camper after waiting so long? None of this was discussed. Sorry, sir or ma'am. I mean, we got to prep it. What do you want it to leak? Well, we had to get it here. I mean, you can't even go pick it up from the factory if you wanted to. But I mean, how do you think they just magically show up? Like on a magic carpet or something? I mean, you're financing with us, so we're going to have to charge you for pulling your credit and working with you and all that. And then we're giving you the walkthrough so you know how to use it. So, I mean, unless you don't want to know how to use it, we don't have to charge you for that. Like, you see where I'm going at? They're going to make it your fault in some weird way that they didn't tell you that all of these hidden fees are going to be associated with your cost. Some are really good. There's a we'll call them a chain or a franchise that's very large, and they are so well known for their hidden fees. They're changing their name right now. They bought out another company and they're changing their name to it. Same pig, different lipstick. Okay, and there's no need to tell you who that is. A lot of you watching already know who I'm talking about, and that's fine. But long story short, where I'm getting at with this is that that's not right. You shouldn't be known for the dealership that, or the stealership that you get all these hidden fees on. One of my customers, they actually even told me, God, it's been a couple months now, but he actually even told me that when the trailer got in, the finance, he was never even told about these things, but he saw the finance number was changed. That's crazy. How do you, he didn't even agree to anything. There was a protection plan on there. There was all of the doc title, licensing, sales tax, all of these fees. He didn't even get talked to about a protection plan. Now this is according to him. I understand two sides of the story, and that's fine. But I'm inclined to believe it based on the other experiences I've heard from the similar place and other locations, right? So, yeah. But again, enough about them. It's just that's an example. This should not be something that is just laid on your lap in the closing room as you're about to put ink to paper. That's the last place that those things are talked about, and that's gives the rest of us a bad name too. And that, again, that's my hidden agenda of doing these things is, hey, if you don't buy it from me, you don't want to drive to Ohio, I get that, but stop letting these guys win these deals. Like it's time to stand up to them, because sooner or later they're going to own the whole industry, and now there's going to be no way around paying thousands. It's going to be the same way that the RV industry started. Everyone's going to have huge profit margins. It's going to go back to how it was. I don't want to see history repeat itself. We fought so hard to get where we are now, right? So, but yes, anyhow.
So there should be a few fees like doc and title you mentioned. I mean, that's one, you should know about it, but there is going to be a number associated to it. For example, in Ohio, what is it for you?
We do 295. I mean, and even like on some pieces, like a used RV. I mean, there's different paperwork associated with it. With a new RV though, it's $295. We have to transfer a factory MSO into an Ohio state title, and we got to flip it into your name, put it in your state. Like that takes time. But that's a part of every dealer. Sales tax, dock and title. Those are two absolute musts with every transaction. Car, boat, motorcycle, airplane, submarine, doesn't matter. Those are two musts. We have to do these things associated to get the title done. So yes, you will be subject to that. But like over in New Jersey, I was going up against a deal. They charge $495 for that. I don't know if it's different there. I really don't. I've never bought anything from New Jersey. I don't know if that's required, if that's standard, but it sounds to me like they're just inflating it because you do have to pay it, and we want as much money from you as possible. That's what it sounds like. I don't know that to be the truth, but it's still,
Yeah, so check that out. Sales tax, you pay that in your state of residence, right?
Yeah. Indiana is the only state that I know about where you pay a very small percent for Indiana and your full sales tax when you get back home. Again, it's very small. It's like 0.003%, but it's something that I've heard about, and I was asked if Ohio was that way, and I said, no, this is, you pay your sales tax. You pay nothing in regards to my state that I'm selling it to you from. So, and I've not had any other issues in regards to the sales tax and collecting it for other states. So
yeah, we're going to talk just real briefly about used versus new. Melanie had a question. Can you read that in the chat there?
Would like to sell and trade. Open to a used camper and truck. So yeah, I mean, financing, I would love to get into that, permitted that we have a little bit of time. I mean, so ultimately, with a new RV, and I mean, this is one of the biggest things that I applaud us for being different for, and not a lot of dealerships kind of go down that road, I guess. I'm trying to think of the terminology, but yes, long story short, financing is just as important as it is buying the RV for you.
Yeah. I mean, could you go ahead and explain RV terms and financing, and we'll dive into that. We'll talk about used in a second.
Sure. Well, so and again, mostly on a new RV, when you are financing, and I mean, this is any large retail purchase, car, boat, motorcycle, airplane, jet ski, submarine. I mean, you name it. If you're going to work with a dealership, we do all the work. We write the loans. We interact with you. We send it off to the bank, and the bank is the ones that make thousands from you in interest over these years, right? So ultimately,
wait for it. Let me put the slide up.
Oh, there you go.
Big dealer finance secret. All right,
Yep.
Tell us, what is this big secret that you're about to explain?
So financing is a game, and here's why I say that is the banks pay me more money on average than what I make off of my customers just to give their business. It's crazy, right? A lot of dealerships don't want you to know that. All right. A lot of dealerships out there want to play the rate game. So again, I guess just to start from the beginning is to explain why we get this money from the bank. So again, we do two things. And this is all with your best interest in mind. We don't shotgun your credit, and we really have no reason to inflate your interest rate either. We basically, when we do a credit application, we send it to banks after we analyze it. Again, that's one thing that makes us a little bit different, and I applaud us for doing so, is that I don't need to send it to all 10 banks that I work with, right? I just need to see who's going to give me the best interest rate. What other dealerships do, again, the ones with a lot of locations, 100+ locations. This is the kind of games that they play here. They're going to do an application with you, and then they are going to send it to every bank that they work with. And what you'll be under the impression is that they're shopping for the best interest rate. Hey, I don't know. This guy might offer a lower one. He might offer a lower one. I don't know. But what they're hoping for is that you don't understand what's truly going on behind the scenes. And that's that they are going to get a lot of money for whoever gives your business to them. So it's not that they're looking for the best rate. They're looking at who's going to give me the most amount of money.
So banks pay them a commission or a kickback, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. What a dealer reserve, is that the official term you call it?
That's what
in some cases.
the official terminology, but it is my commission. It's because I'm working with my customer
Right.
and I'm giving it to them to earn the interest on, basically, right?
So different banks may have different dealer reserves or dealer commissions. So you're saying basically you can they're more selfishly shopping. Like, hey, let's figure out which bank will hook us up with the best rate or the best kickback.
I'll put it this way, Tim. We get about 10% on average. So if you find
okay, so that's we're not just talking a few $100s that's going back. We're talking thousands. So if you bought $100,000 Class D
camper, yep, I get $10,000 from the bank. Almost. But you may as well round up, okay? But let's say 7.5 is almost the official number on that. A lot of dealerships, they get greedy. They're not shopping for the best interest rate, Tim. They're trying to see which bank's going to give me the most amount of money for this one, this ticket right here.
Because each one is different based on their credit score and their all that, right? So
there's a lot of factors.
It's not like okay.
There's a lot of factors. In some cases, for example, if a customer's credit was less than desirable and the bank didn't want to loan them, they'll say, we'll do it, but with 25% down. Well, if you put 25% down, the dealership is not getting, they're getting 25% less money than what they would have. So that kind of hurts them. And I've actually seen dealers go back and mess with numbers on the trailer to recuperate that lost profit margin, which is, again, literally should be illegal. I'm sure in some cases it is. That's neither here nor there. But ultimately, that's just something that you should know what's going on behind the scenes. Every single one of my customers, hey, I did a quote. It says you got a finance with you. What's that about? Well, thank you for asking. Let me explain. Because I don't care how you buy a camper from me. Our prices are already at the bottom. But here's a way I can save you more. Do the financing with me. Set everything up. Let me get this money back from the bank. We're going to give it to you. Yeah, you just heard me correctly. We are going to give that money to you. We don't need the money, okay? Believe me, I would love to have a location in Florida and tech. I mean, those things happen. It's just slower with us, but they are happening. Great things are happening here, but we don't need that extra money. And if you sell, we almost sold 5,000 trailers last year, Tim. I mean, some dealers were lucky to sell 500 or less. We're doing just fine. Like, we don't need every dollar from your pocket. And what we found is that the better prices you have and the services that you have means that my customer will not allow his family member or his friend to buy from anyone else other than me. If I've treated him the best and given him the best deal he can find, there's no way he's going to let someone buy from someone he knows buy from anyone else other than myself, because he knows how we took care of him, right? So that's earned, and that is my hidden agenda. Is I don't want this to be the only camper I sell you, because I'm making just a little bit of money off you. That's it. But I want you to send me your friends and your family and all the people that you meet along the way to your campgrounds and at gas stations. Hey, where'd you get this thing? RV Wholesalers. Don't call anyone else. Call RV. That's my hidden agenda. I want to earn that, right? But again, that's why we don't shop for the interest rate. We give you guys all of that reserve money. What I'll say is, for those that plan on buying like a product that we don't carry, or just already working with somebody right now and are making sure they're getting the best deal, ask your dealer after financing's already done, after everything's already set in stone. Ask them, so how much of that reserve money is coming back to me? And again, if you finance, let's just say a $35,000 camper, they're getting back about $3,000. Just watch them squirm. Just watch them freak out, because you are not supposed to know about this as a customer, okay? And so do we have enough time to talk about like the credit unions and stuff like that? Would that be okay, Tim?
Yeah, because this works for cars and everything too. So yeah, why don't you share about that?
It's guys, this is any large. So for those of you that are watching, you might have a camper picked out, but maybe you haven't bought that truck yet. Again, use this tactic, because this works on everything. The boat I just bought. Now, again, this is different. I put myself in the situation because I'm trying to compare industries. But the boat I bought, they did not get any reserve money back. This is only because I chose to go through Yamaha financing. Best rates. No way it was going to be beat. It was a certain situation that I I knew what I was doing and what I was trying to accomplish, but things work differently. But with cars, with RVs, with anything large retail purchase that you would be financing through the dealership for, or perhaps a credit union, this will all apply. Okay, so again, first and foremost, anytime that you do business with a dealership, they're getting money from the banks. Okay, I financed my mortgage 2 years ago, Tim, through Honda Federal Credit Union, and I'm going to explain why I'm talking this in just a second. But after it was all said and done, this is my first house, right? After it was all said and done, because credit unions don't give you reserve money. They never have. You go into a credit union, you're doing everything, but they're doing all the work. So they're not giving you money. But I thought it was so funny when I went, when I went to my mailbox a couple weeks later after I got the loan and everything, I had a letter from a bank in Cincinnati, and they said, "Hey, we basically own the deed to your house. It's down here in Cincinnati." And I'm like, who are you? What are you talking about? Well, Honda sold my loan to this much larger bank in Cincinnati, and I promised you, Tim, they made probably $20,000 off of me easily.
Oh,
just for pushing a couple buttons. That's all they did. They didn't do anything. But now the bank in Cincinnati, where my mortgage is through now, with someone I've never even talked to, they gave the people I did work with reserve money just to give my business to them. It's crazy, but this was an eye-opening experience. So, like again, for a lot of people, like Amy, she just said, if you want to buy cash, do you lower the price on the RV? I'm gonna get to that in just a second.
Oh yeah.
You know, cash is no longer king anymore. And please, Amy, stick around. I want to get to that in just a second, but I want to finish up the credit union thing. So again, if you are working with a truthful dealer, I should say, someone that is willing to tell you, hey, I am getting the money from the bank, and you're at least not getting any of it, or here's what you are getting. That'll at least tell you who you're working with. But a lot of people will come up to me and they'll say, hey, I want to I want to go through my credit union. They offer the best interest rates. Well, again, I'm going to tell you something that I did personally, and I think it'll be the best example that I could have, just because I've been through it. I bought 2 RVs from this location. Okay, the second one that I sold for the boat, I financed through U.S. Bank, through U.S. Bank. Now they gave me okay rate. It was a 5.9. I was okay with that. My payment, it was around $400. Again, I'm okay with that. But they let me borrow the longest term, and they gave me $4,000 back of reserve money. So instead of paying $50, I'm at $46. That alone helps me tremendously, right? Because you got to think sales tax, you got to think all the camping gear. I had to buy generators, things like that, right? I mean, it's not cheap at all. So what I'm trying to get at though is I knew what Honda was offering me. They were offering me a much lower interest rate, but they didn't say, hey, Josh, here's a check. Have a good day. They didn't give me any reserve money back. Just like my mortgage. I know that they made a lot of money off of me for doing nothing. I literally was in there for an hour. That's all. And they probably made every single one of their staff's, monthly earnings just within an hour of my time. It blew my mind. I had no idea. I thought it all stayed in house. It doesn't though. They did offer me a much better interest rate, 2.9 versus my 5.9. But I'm doing the math. And I'm like, listen, and again, so Amy, this is kind of where I'm getting at with the cash deal. There's only a 12-month contingency to keep the deal open. So what I did is I played the game. I took advantage of the money that U.S. Bank gave us. Okay, I put that towards my principal. I also put a little bit more money down to try to get the payment manageable, everything else. But at the end of that year, they maybe made, let's just call it like $400 from me in interest over 12 payments over a whole year, right? I canceled that loan and I refinanced through Honda. They didn't give me any money, but they gave me a 2.9% interest rate. So I played the game. I said, listen, here's what I have to do to get the best price is financing, taking money from this person, giving it to myself basically, and then refinancing it with whoever gives me the best interest rate. That's what I recommend everyone to do. And again, if it is a game, no matter how you look at it. But when you play the game and you win, it's a fun game. And then so back to Amy's question, if you want to buy your RV paying cash, we'll lower the price. Amy, I'm just being honest. This is not a the way that dealerships have adapted, the way that things have changed over time, financing is the key, because we're getting money from somebody else. So essentially, how that works with me is my prices, for example, are already rock bottom. If you want the price that I can sell to you for, you got to play the game, right? What other dealerships do is that they would say, okay, you can, how do I want to say this? Okay, you can pay cash, but so it's also a very difficult time right now. Just, I mean, obviously supply and demand is doing its absolute best to show us that people are price gouging. People are taking advantage of the very little supply and the very large demand, right? But ultimately, for cash buyers, there's not as much of a deal as you would think. I'm not going to be able to drop down from a rock bottom price even further just because you're paying cash, right? But ultimately, again, if you play the game, here's what my cash buyers do. You only have to keep the loan open for 12 months. Okay, I'm going to toss some numbers at you. Can you guys see the board okay? Let's move this around here.
That's good.
So, and I got my headphones on, so I'm trying not to pull those out of the computer here. So let's just say that you finance $20,000. And my handwriting is not even close to being as good as Tim's. This is supposed to be a comma. So $20,000, okay? I should get about $2,000 back from the bank for this deal, okay? So whatever, $2,000, we'll give that back to you. Let's just say your monthly payment is $200. So you have to make 12 of those payments in order to not have a early payment penalty payoff, right? And I'll get to that, because some banks are different. I'm using 12 months as an example, but this is $2,400, right? $200 a month times 12 is $2,400. Again, terrible handwriting, but that's all you have to keep open for that loan. So let's just say, whatever, let me use my calculator real quick. Let's just say your loan of $18,000 minus $2,400, which is your minimum balance due. That's all you have to keep open. That's $1,600. So on that very first payment, what my cash buyer is doing is they put down $15,600. That goes directly to the principal, right? And so then it doesn't matter really what your interest rate is, even if it was a 5.9% like I had. Your interest is calculated off of the minimum balance due. So again, let's just say for the numbers that I just came up with, 2,400 times 5.9%, they would get $141 from you in interest over an entire year. But keep in mind, I just saved you $2,000 just to finance with me. You see? So I want the best deal for you too. It's just I have to rob Peter and pay Paul to make that to accomplish that goal, right? Our prices are where they are, but here's what's going on behind the scenes. Again, a lot of other dealerships, what they'll do is they'll do a credit app with you, and they'll say, you know, I'm looking for the best rate. Really, they're just looking for who's going to pay them the most money. And then on top of that, they can inflate your interest rate so that they get more back from them. So what seems to be like a good doing or a good deed really is just a quick way for them to find more money, right? So again, all in all, again, to summarize that, cash is no longer king. It is what it is. We've gone very, very far from that is what I feel like, and everyone's doing the same thing. But again, the reason I wanted to explain how much money we are getting from the banks is I'm seeing a lot of people say, well, if you finance with me, I'll give you $500. Well, that's a $50,000 purchase. I want to save every dollar I can, but really that it should be a much more. This whole thing is just to kind of keep people honest and show you this is what's going on behind the scenes that you deserve to know. Here's all of the tools that you need to go find yourself the best deal, right? So, but yes, hopefully that does all make sense. And Amy, if you have any more questions or if there's anything else I can help you with, please don't hesitate. I think Tim will throw my number and email up here in a little bit, just so we can have a way to communicate back and forth with all you lovely people that have joined us this morning. But yes, hopefully that is a good explanation. And if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to chime in. We still got some time here, so.
Yeah, there's Josh. Here's your number for people with questions. Extension 143, that 877 number, and then J Durnell at rvwholesalers.com. So I'll put that up again at the end too. While we were talking, I threw up a poll like how many of this will be your first time buying an RV. It was about 40%, and about 60% this will be their second or third RV. So at least you're learning. You know, like if this is, I'm glad you're coming back for this kind of information before you make a mistake twice or something like that. But I know it's the one question is, you know, used versus new. Sometimes we get that. And back in October, I went camping. One of the trips, took the family out, and another family pulled in beside us, and I had a brand new Wildwood, and this other family had their 7-year-old trailer. I forget what brand it was, but they were looking at this new one. They're like, "Oh man, this is great. This is the same layout as we have," and they were loving it. And they were so I asked, like, "Well, how much did you guys pay for yours?" And they bought it 3 years ago, and they paid like $15,500 used, which, you know, now the used is like going crazy too. But they're like, "How much for the new one?" I was embarrassed to say it was like 16,000, you know, for the same thing, you know, with all the bells and whistles and the new technology and Bluetooth and all the stuff that goes with the new trailer. But yeah, sometimes, especially now, don't you think, Josh, it's like the prices that people are getting for their used ones, and it, you know, so man, kind of crazy. What would you recommend for people trying to decide trade in or sell it? Or
I again, I speak from experience, right? So what I'm telling everybody right now is that, listen, I'm not afraid to give you a trade offer, right? As long as you're not expecting, as long as you're not proud of it, right? But I can't help people that have been taken advantage of before they've talked to me, if that makes sense. I just spoke with somebody. She was in Texas. She says, I have a 2020 trade-in. Instantly, oh no, you know, I know what she bought that trailer for in Texas, and I know what she could have bought it for from me. So ultimately, I could either insult you with my trade offer and try to, pray that you understand, like, listen, I mean, here's why that difference is, you know, well, my local dealer offered me 20. Why are you offering me 10? Well, because you could have bought it much cheaper had you had driven up here to get it, or if you had found me sooner, right? You see what I'm saying? It's a very difficult thing all around, and not everybody travels to Ohio, especially in the last couple of years, to buy RVs. This is just, you know, I think now more than ever, people are realizing, holy cow, why would I spend $10,000 more here when I could just make a trip? And people that buy RVs are traveling across state lines anyway, so it doesn't make the best deal or make the most sense to drive for the best deal, right? But ultimately, I've been telling everyone right now, Tim, if you don't at least try to sell it on your own, you are crazy. Seriously, I offered a lady, and she's been an amazing person to work with. We sold her a trailer within, I think it was 3 phone conversations, less than 2 hours of working with each other. She was already set on everything just by her experience from her local guy. And so it wasn't even about the money I saved her. It wasn't even about the communication that we had between each other. But ultimately, I was afraid to give her the trade offer. I feel like it was going to be insulting, but she didn't want to deal with the local guy. I guess she was just trying to compare, see what happened. I was almost $30,000 cheaper on the new one, but I was almost $20,000 cheaper on the used one. You see, I mean, I'm a wholesale dealer, right? And luckily she understood. And I said, ma'am, you would be doing yourself a disservice, not at least going outside, cleaning this thing up, taking some pictures and posting it online. It's that easy. For what could take you 2 hours or less, might make you $20,000 or more. It's worth it, believe me. And Tim, hand on the Bible, swear to God, she sold her camper in less than 12 hours. She called me, she says, I had 4 emails before I even got back inside. Like before I even told my husband I posted it, I had 4 people comment on me. It was gone the next day by noon, and almost at twice of what I offered her. So listen, that is the type of things we're seeing right now, is people are either so desperate that they want to go camping right now, or they want to take the advantage of the time that their kids have away from school or the time off work, or they're COVID fearful. They don't want to stay in hotels. A guy bought a $100,000 trailer from me yesterday from Florida, just because he's got to drive to California. He just had a back surgery. He can't get on a plane or doesn't want to. So he's going to be driven to California to do something, and then he's going to drive back and sell it. Like that's what we're dealing with right now.
And he'll probably make money on it.
He will probably make money. He knows that for a fact. He could have a $500 a month payment and make it one time, or he could probably spend $6,000 in hotels and cleaning and food and all this other stuff that he's going to have to do traveling. So literally, I mean, I get it. It makes sense no matter how crazy it sounds, but that's what we're seeing right now. People are, I just wrote another quick story of this guy. He calls me, he's from Tennessee. Now, usually Tennessee, I'm beaten by, let's just say like 2, maybe 3,000. It's typically like every state away, I'm saving an additional 2,000. Now it's probably 4, 6, 8. It gets really, really bad the further away you get. This guy called me and he was like, "You guys still have this Wildwood?" And I was like, "No, sir, it just sold. I'm sorry." Well, when you get another one? I don't know, 10, 12 weeks probably. This is last year when the time frames were still a little bit more accurate than what they are. But I said about 10, 12 weeks. He's like, "Man, that sucks. I loved your price. I wanted to buy from you guys, but I'm going to drive down to Tennessee and I'm going to pick his up, I guess." And I'm like, "Well, what's he asking for his?" He says 19.9. So, wait, same model? Yeah, it's this 178 VHSK. I said, "Wait, what? The one that I could sell you for 12,500? He's asking 19.9. You're going to go buy that?" "Well, yeah, I'm not waiting 3 months." I said, "Sir, how many camping trips do you have planned in the next 3 months?" Like, and again, this is last year. This is before. This is during the first scare of COVID, you know. But I was just like, "How many trips do you have planned?" He says, I got 2 trips planned. We're going here for the one, we're going here for the next one." And I said, "So, and stick with me here for a second. Each of those camping trips is worth $4,000 to you?" He says, well, how do you mean?" And I said, "Well, sir, I could sell you this trailer for 12.5. You're going to go spend 19.5 for it. There's $7,000 of a difference right there that you're going to have to go pay. So let's just say $3,500 for this trip, $3,500 for this trip, and then that's more in taxes. Then that's an extra $7,000 that you have to pay in taxes. So there's an extra couple $100 at least. And then when you go to sell this thing next year because you realize it's too small for you and it's not what you expected, you are going to lose your butt. Why would you do that?" And he thanked me. He said, "Honestly, I'm glad that you said that. I can't believe that I just had someone else think for me for a minute, but you're absolutely right." Well, that's the kind of things that we're dealing with. That's part of the webinar here. Like, it doesn't make sense to go do these things to have it tomorrow, and it doesn't make sense to be subject to certain things. And like this, and just like what the point of the conversation, things are so upside down right now. These dealerships know that they are going to wait at minimum 12 weeks, if not in some cases like Winnebago, 20 to 24 weeks to get a camper. And we don't make a dollar until you pick it up. So do you really think that the dealership's just going to let you have a good deal this year? I'm sorry, but that's not the case. You're spending more for it than I've ever seen if you wanted it today. And I said, Tim, one of my customers even bribed me the other day. I was laughing. He says, what do I got to do? Who do I got to pay to get this thing here quicker? Because I'm willing to do it. I'm like, "Buddy, Winnebago is not, they don't need your money." Okay, they don't need your money. There's no one to bribe. I'll take your money if you want me to, but there's no one to bribe. They're not going to skimp out on their quality and cut corners just to get you one sooner. I'm sorry, man. It's not how it works. He's like, "I know, I'm joking, but seriously, if you can do anything for me, let me know." And I'm just like, "All right, sir, have a good day," But that's what we're dealing with right now, right? People that would literally spend twice as much just to have it today. Why? That doesn't make sense. These things are already depreciating factors as they are. You shouldn't have to spend $1 more, not even a single penny more, unless they're upgrading something, right? But anyway, I'm gonna catch up with the comments here, Tim. If you want to go ahead.
Yeah. So Rick was saying he sold his on Facebook Marketplace, made $4,500 more than he paid for it in 2014, which is awesome. But that's a great place. Facebook Marketplace. Thank you, Rick.
And
RV Trader
than he paid. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
And then Sandy asked, I'm in California. How do I custom build and take possession? I'll explain that way. You read a couple more, but what? Can you guys hear my little little guy?
I was gonna say
a little salesman.
I was gonna say, do we get to meet him? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is Charles. He's our new sales guy.
Hi, Charles.
He's been talking up a little storm here, ready for RVing. Can't wait to take him out. He's 4 months. He's actually our Charles' little foster baby. So we get the privilege of taking care of him since he was 3 days old. So good little guy. Most I've heard him talk though is today when I decided to do a webinar. So, but he's awesome. But anyways, Sandy was asking out in California. So you guys deliver all over the country, right? I mean, you could have it transported to her address in wherever it is in California, or to her storage facility if it's in the winter somewhere in Montana or whatever. You've even sent them to Hawaii, haven't you?
We sent 6 Wildwoods to Hawaii after a storm. So far this year, I've already sold 46 trailers to Chile, the country, just below Mexico. I have an account down there. Another gentleman here, he has a very large account with North Korea. They've bought almost 200 trailers from us so far this year, and they all go down to Miami, board the ships, and so when we tell you we can send it anywhere, that we mean that. So it's not very hard to do so, but it's very easy though this is for Sandy here to get on our website. Or call in if you'd like any more direction, but we can send you the links and stuff like that to your email. But it's very easy to simply hop on our website. A lot of people, even if they don't have the intention of buying from us or traveling to Ohio, they still use our website to build things up and to try to get an idea of prices. We honestly think that that's awesome, that because this is, again, we want to keep everyone honest. We want to make sure you're getting the best deal. So that's great. Keep doing it. But it's a great tool. It's an awesome tool to use and build your things and see all the options, all that stuff. So
it's called Custom Build up on the top corner of rvwholesalers.com, right?
Yeah.
And then if there's we have a bunch of videos out at the YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and then type in RV Wholesalers, subscribe to that, and then you'll see a bunch of videos, different things that will help you out. And we have a show coming up on the 31st, a virtual RV show where we explain a lot of things in detail. There was, Joe was asking, how do you find a reputable RV inspector? And I think Sandy or someone else asked that too about buying, about water damage and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple of names of companies. Do you know them? I know we use them sometimes, like with RVing solutions and stuff. But I will email you. I'll get you a couple of names and email them to you. I don't know what the names of the companies, but they pretty much have people all over the country that can come out, and it's like for a few $100s.
Not like a franchise, but yes, I mean they're able to locate them for you. Kind of similar to like our service network. They're able to locate those things and help you out. I certainly wouldn't have that list, but the warranty department, other departments alike would. But
I'll get that to you, Joe. Yeah. And then what's could you explain? Service is a big thing, and I want you to explain as we wrap up here. How in the world, if they buy it from Ohio, do you take care of them in California, for example? Like, how does that happen?
So I'm going to try to give you the best interpretation that I can here, and I'm also going to try to include Judy's question in there. She asked, what are the best brands in travel trailers? And I think it's very important to know for people to know that if it's sitting on my lot, I trust it. Okay. Our whole thing, our biggest thing, and this is what started the entire thing, is being able to take care of you after the sale, right? So what we rely on is the brands that we sell. We rely on the people that stand behind them to do exactly that when we need them to, right? So Wildwood is a great trailer. It's more of a what I would consider the top of an entry-level camper, right? And I say that because of the materials that they use and stuff like that, but it's a great camper. And Mr. Swan, Mr. Schneider, both of our reps over there, top-notch guys. I could call them on Sunday night at 8 o'clock while they're eating dinner with their family, and they'd take my call. They're top-notch guys, and they really, they know and appreciate every single person that buys their products, right? There's now on the complete opposite spectrum of that, there are many products out there where they don't care about you at all. They don't want to hear from you after the sale. They don't want to help you after the sale. They don't want to claim what's right. If you broke your faucet, they're going to say, well, you should have turned it with your left hand, not your right hand. Sorry. What? Right? Like there's people out there in the industry that are just, they're all about the profit. They put profit before people, and it shows. We've had some campers here, the products that we no longer carry anymore, that some people would consider them very top of the line because of how popular they are. I've had them fall apart on my lot before. I'm not going to say any brands. I would never want or wish ill intent or to harm anybody's business. Based on my experience, we are very selective with the products that we carry because of our nationwide service network, because of the things that we built the company on, right? So the more important things is being able to take care of after the sale. So we have the ability with our nationwide service network to when you call in with an issue, you call us, not the factory, and you don't need to call around to the dealerships or the service centers. We do everything for you. So you call us and you say what the issue is, where you're located. Those two things will determine who I can get to you or who I can get you to. 9 out of 10 times you're going to go to a service center, okay? The reason being is because there's no contractual obligation in the RV industry. It's not like the cars we drive, guys, where if it's a Chevy, now, I bought my Chevy in Ohio, but it breaks down in Florida, I can take it to any Chevy dealership in the world, and they are obligated to fix it. You know why? Because the parts that they get can come from O'Reilly's and Napa and AutoZone. Those three names are in every single city, every single town, everywhere. Every single part with an RV comes from the manufacturer unless it's an accessory. That's a very difficult thing. We have to rely on somebody else's product and shortages and their availability. It's very difficult. So just because you buy from me does not mean that local guy to you in Texas has to service you. That's very scary. That means that you're going to have to rely on somebody that you didn't give the opportunity to screw you over on the price, an opportunity, and again, to rely on him for service work. That's a very slippery slope. I'm not saying you'll always have a bad experience. There's plenty of good people still left in this industry, guys. I'm not saying, nothing that I'm trying to say is going to scare you, but it is the reality. And that's why we can't carry a lot of brands, because we have found, one example in particular, I'm not going to tell you the manufacturer, but we sold a customer in South Dakota. He was having issues, and the factory sent us the wrong part 4 times, and we sent him the wrong part 4 times because we're not going to open it and inspect it. We're going to drop ship it to him. Well, this gentleman gave RV Wholesalers $40,000, not the factory that built it. So, and this gentleman only knows RV Wholesalers. He doesn't know anybody that built the camper. So now this gentleman is upset with RV Wholesalers, even though we had nothing to do with the wrong parts getting to him and the experience that he felt that he was getting from us. It's very difficult. So we choose to carry, we don't have a little bit of everything here. If you type in RV dealers in Ohio, we'll probably be the last one to come up. However, if you type in Wildwood, Sandpiper, Rockwood, any of those brands, we're the first to come up, and we make sure of that. We don't want to be in bed with everyone, but we do want the people that are willing to stand behind the products and help us take care of our customers. We want those people on our shelf. Just last year, we got rid of a very, very big name, huge name. We were very profitable with this particular manufacturer. It was a great run. But what they did, how they handled themselves during the situation, we simply said we would no longer continue to do business with you. We get an email every 2 weeks for them begging us to reconsider, begging us. We cannot let a customer down, because again, the gentleman that I was just referring to, he's still upset with us. I'll never get him to understand that we had nothing to do with sending you these wrong parts and all of this wait time. And yeah, we believe you should be compensated too, but we don't believe we should be the ones that are compensating you for someone else's screw up when we've already done everything. It's so again, long story short, we're very selective with what we carry because of what we stand on, and that is service. So we will never try to send you to a dealership we will always try to send you to a service center because they don't care where you bought it. They don't care how much money that I saved you during that purchase. And they don't care, it doesn't bother them what type of RV it is, because at the end of the day, I'm paying the bill for you. And I'll get that in just a second. But a water heater is a water heater. An air conditioner is an air conditioner. Just because it says a different name on the side of your trailer doesn't mean the component is any different. So that service center is just in business to fix those things and to get you in and get you out so that they can get paid. And so, again, guys, that's our nationwide service network. We're the only people in the whole industry to have that. And I think that's funny because everything we've done up to this point, Tim, and you can attest to this, getting profit margins to single digit numbers, selling on the internet and period. We're the first to do that, believe it or not. Being service oriented, the financing discounts, the overall way that we order trailers and what we stock, everybody copies everything we do. But no one's copied my nationwide service network yet. Why? Because it's not that they can't. Anybody can do it. It's that they don't want to. Once that money's in their pocket, they want to keep it that way. They don't want to pay your bill after the fact of your air conditioner breaking or whatever it is. They don't want to do that. They want that money to stay in their pocket. So again, if there's anything that you haven't heard, it's just that, again, there's no contractual obligation. This is the most important part of buying an RV. That's why I am very selective on the products that I carry, because I need a strong support system after the fact if you ever have issues. I need someone to rely on myself, just as if I'm explaining to how I will allow you to rely on us to take care of you. So again, kind of wrap it all up there. The service is everything, but
yeah, no, that's really, really important. And also, we don't have time to talk today about it, but you start getting into service contracts to extend, so you have a warranty that covers a little bit of time, but to extend that, so as you're bouncing down the road, that's definitely important. And you're going to want to ask for a exclusionary coverage. So just write that down, exclusionary coverage. Don't forget to ask for that when you're talking about.
And Joe just asked, he just said, what about extended warranties? Are they worth it? And guys, I really, really want to get involved. So Tim, whenever, you cross that, maybe let me know, but there's,
we'll do a special one just on that.
Perfect. I was going to say, just like what you, and Joe, if you can't wait, give me a call. It's just, it's not if they're worth it or not. It's to make sure that you know what you're buying. That's the most important thing. And
that they're going to pay the bills.
There's two different types, right? And one is honestly a profit hungry scheme, and the other one that is simply saying like, hey, yeah, this costs more, but this is going to pay your bills when you need it to. So I say they're worth it, but only if you know what you're getting and what you have to know what your expectations are, and you got to see it on paper. You can't take our word or that dealership's word for it. You need to get it in writing of what's covered, what the differences are, and I think, Tim, that's awesome that you're gonna have your own separate thing and explain that, because that's very important for people to know. You know what I mean? But
yeah, could you answer Sandy's last question there, and then we'll say goodbye?
Yeah. So, and again, Joe, give me a call if you can't wait. I'd love to help you out here. Info's on the screen. If RV is delivered sight unseen, who does the walkthrough for how to work everything? So, Sandy, what we do, I guess I can't speak for other dealerships and how they do things, but I'll tell you how we do that. We want to do that with you before the unit leaves. Okay, because we believe that you should see everything and know that what's coming to you and what's going to show up on your doorstep or at your campsite is what you ordered and what you want it to be. So long story short, what we do, or what I offer personally as a sales consultant and having my own customer clientele base, is that I want to do the video walkthrough with you before the unit leaves. Okay, so whether that's myself or my assistant, we go out there and we will FaceTime you, or we can do something similar to what we're doing here, where we can just record a video showing you everything. I may not be able to get too far into depth as much as we could if you came here, simply because of time. And it's been a long time since I've ran the service department, and it's a lot of things have changed, right? But ultimately, it's something that can be done, but you'll never probably have the same experience as you would if you went to pick it up, right? But again, these things can be overcome. We can do a video walkthrough with you. We can send you pictures. We can even do a video and post it on our YouTube channel for you to see. A lot of people choose to do that way if they don't have time to FaceTime or whatever. But ultimately, that's something that, again, you deserve to to have part of the process. So that's how we choose to do it. I can't speak on how it is done with other dealers, but I mean, my delivery driver is a delivery driver. He's going to let you inspect the RV, but you should know how to use everything and where everything's located before it gets to you, so that you can properly inspect it. So with that said, that's how we would do it. I don't know how anyone else would, but I assume that would be something similar. So.
That's good. Thank you guys for all the great questions. Thank you, Josh, for giving up a busy Saturday morning. I know that's a lot for you to take time out to come help lots of people. So I appreciate it. And it's been fun hanging out with you. Thanks for letting me introduce you to Charles and tell you good camping stories. So it's been great. So appreciate you guys, and reach out for Josh with any more questions. And Joe, I'll get that one question answered and sent over to you about inspectors. And have a great Saturday. So take care, folks. God bless.
Appreciate you guys for staying along. Everyone have a great weekend. Okay. You too, Tim. See you, buddy.
All right. Yeah, we'll see you.